Today I'm challenging myself to build a massive LEGO Star Wars clone base in just 100 hours, filled with everything the clones need to fight against the droid forces. Now without further ado, let's get to building. Clone bases have been a staple on YouTube since the very beginning, with various styles and techniques used to create them throughout the years. I've always been a massive fan of how the clone base on Anaxis in Season 7 of the Clone Wars was built, with the walls surrounding the perimeter, similar to what we see like with knights and kingdoms and castles and stuff like that, and all the buildings, vehicles, and supplies stored inside. As well as the Republic carved out this mountain to make a hangar bay inside the store and place different equipment and their command posts. So that is what I'll be taking inspiration from here for my clone base. The first thing I did was set up all my gray base plates, which in total equals 8. Then began building the front walls, which is going to be the very beginning of this build. I began by using light gray slopes and bricks to make an armored looking design for the fortress. To make it not just all light gray, I also included some dark gray accents to add a little bit more detail. Of course, the base is going to need some defensive capabilities against any imposing droid forces, so I made sure to build a turret emplacement on the side of the walls. I used this by using a lot of circular bricks to create a tower effect, then added a blaster cannon on top. Now the separatist forces are going to have a tough time getting into our clone base here. I then repeated this same process on the other side of the build and left a spot in the middle open where we can actually have an entranceway into our fortress base. Overall, really happy with the front section of our base walls and the turrets that we built here. It's really given me those Anaxis wall feels so far. Now I want to add a grand walkway where the clones will be marching on into battle. So I added this very large light and dark gray flooring onto the build. This will make a great start for the interior of the base. I don't want this base to be the same exact one that we see in Anaxis, so I want to give it some variety. So instead, I want to build this on a foresty world. I began by building the dark green layer in the front of the fortress walls to create a deep, lush effect. Then added a whole bunch of dark green fern pieces to really capture that this is built within some deep forest somewhere. Man, I really do love that LEGO came out with these newer fern pieces a while ago. They truly do add a lot to any build, so I'm so glad I have a bunch of them now. Now we must go inside the walls to continue the interior of the base. I started by building and placing these two long sections of light gray bricks on their side to create more on the ground. I used a mixture of masonry and regular bricks to make this design. Then I went to fill in these gaps in between both of these sections. I placed a bunch of 16 by 16 plates with tiles on top, and there you have it. The flooring for the base wall is all complete. This took me about a couple days to complete all of this. Yeah, it was very time consuming just doing this section. So timing is running out, but we still have a major section left to complete. Now it's time to build the back hangar walls. I want to make this look like a larger hangar door that is opening from inside the mountain that's been carved out. To do this, I made two sections where I built light gray portions to represent the hangar door, and then I used dark tan as the color for the rock wall. I really like using dark tan and I have a bunch of it from leftover mocks, so I feel like this added a lot of cool rocky elements onto the build. So I built these two different sections and placed them onto the base. And I have to say, this really makes for a cool look because I love when Star Wars designs and creations are like mixed with their industrial aspect into nature. I just think it's such a cool visual aspect to Star Wars, so really happy I was able to include this in my clone base here. Now it's time to make this clone base come to life. The first thing I did was add this generator piece to supply energy to the compound. And of course, the clones need different crates to hold weapons, rations, or anything else they might need. So for the story of this build, I want to have some clone forces on the base preparing to head out for battle, since there's a large droid controlled objective that the clones need to take control to have a valuable position on this planet. So I place ATTEs, ATRTs, and clone troopers marching out of the hangar bay doors. The clone station here on the base will be the 501st Legion. One of my favorite clone legions for sure. I love the blue coloring on their armor, and I have a ton of them, so they'll be occupying this entire base. And leading in the front will be Commander Appo and his squad, as well as a clone swamp speeder that is going to be piloted by 501st ARF troopers. This is a custom one from Brickvault. Super happy with this design. I think the swamp speeder is an underrated vehicle in Star Wars. Wish it was included in more shows like the Clone Wars and just more media overall, but really happy with this build. If you want to build this amazing swamp speeder model or any of the other great models on Brickvault, you can actually use TSquad15 as the discount code to get 50% off and build whatever your heart desires there. Then I proceeded to add various other Republic vehicles like the V-19, ARC 170, and fighter tanks to the clone base. And with that, this huge clone base completed in 100 hours is finished. I had a ton of fun going back to building something simple as a clone base. I've never really done this before, not since I was quite young, watching all those other clone base videos and recreated them with the 2x4 bricks. So this was a fun challenge to take part of. Make sure to like and subscribe for more builds just like this in the future. Let me know what you want me to build in my next video. Have a ton of huge plans. Actually gonna be building some other things other than Star Wars coming up. I'll give you a hint, it still has war in the name, so subscribe for that, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.